Hi, welcome back to Norton Hill. In tonight's video we've got some fencing, we lay some scatter, we build a few hedges, and finally we do a resin pour. This one's a long one, so grab a cup of tea and a biscuit and we'll see you at the end. Okay, what I've done with the wire that comes with the kit, I've cut a length, and what we're now going to try and do, with any luck, is feed it through the tiny little holes all the way to the end, fix it with a bit of glue, and we're going to do that 4 times. So, off we go. This is not for the faint-hearted. It's very fiddly, very time consuming. So we'll get the first one started and then I'll finish this off and come back to you. Right, hopefully you can see that I've got it through the first post. I had to take the post out and clean some glue off one of the first holes, but we're through a couple of the posts and it is fiddly, but with a bit of perseverance you can get it through all the way through to the next post. The effect is quite good, as you can see from the other fence that's on the layout. I've used the same fencing before. Now, the company concerned that supplied is a company called Scale Model Scenery. Hopefully if I show you the packet to camera, if you Google or put that web address in and go and search for the fencing, it's about $7.95 for this pack, which does 1 metre of fencing. Postage is reasonable, and if you need it, there's the details on screen. Right, I'm going to carry on feeding this all the way through, and I'll do all 4 lengths on this first side, and then I'll come back to you in a moment. Okay, that's the fencing all done. I must say this front piece here, that was really tricky. For whatever reason it did not want to feed through. Okay, however, we've got there. The rear section there was an awful lot easier. So what we've done now, I've put a touch of glue just on the edges of each one. We'll let that dry, probably overnight, then I'll trim the edges of the wire off next time I'm back in the railway room, just so we can get a nice neat finish. This one here, I might bring the wires through and just try and tack them onto the other wire so it forms a complete fence across like it's been joined. And now I think we'll probably put a bit of scatter down on this piece here. I'm not sure what we're going to do here yet, and that's still on part of the railway, so we may yet run some fencing along here up to there to allow it to, and the same this side we might extend this fencing to keep the railway fenced in from anyone getting onto it, but we'll worry about that another day. Right, on with the ground cover. Okay, I'm going to put some neat PVA down onto this piece of ground here. Doesn't want to come out particularly well because I didn't close the bottle off after the last use. So put a good liberal squeeze of PVA all the way around. What we're going to do now, we're going to find a paintbrush, to which I should have one somewhere. Oh, there it is. There's the other side of the layout. And what we're going to do, just spread this all the way around. You've all seen this before, you don't need to explain what I'm doing, but you all know exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to right up to the edge. What I'm going to do, just get one of my finer paint brushes, and what we're going to do, we're going to go and get a bit more PVA. And with a little paintbrush, we're just going to come just up to here, around the base of the posts, up to that join there, and again all the way up here. What I will do when this is down and dry, I'm going to put a bit of DAS clay along this edge just to fill this gap, but that'll have to wait because I've started this now, so I'll end up putting a bit more scatter down there. Right, so that's that. So put the paint brushes out of the way. Now what we've got here is some Woodland Scenics blended turf green blend T49. So we're going to gently sprinkle this over the area, give it a good generous covering. Then what we'll do when it's all dry, we'll vacuum off the excess, and from a nice clean vacuum we shall recycle the what we don't use on here, and we'll use it again. It may look like I'm being wasteful, but I'm not. This will all hoover off when I'm finished, and then we can reuse the rest of it. Once I've done this, that's going to probably be it for tonight. We'll be able to go down and see Mrs. Norton Hill. I only came up to do a tiny bit, and I've already been up here over an hour. So well, it's got a nice covering on it, so that doesn't look too bad. What I will do in time is round the edge of where the grass is growing on the edge of the riverbank, I will put a bit of glue, and I will put some green scatter. What I may do before I go to bed tonight is just put a piece on here and just put a bit there and put a bit of scatter, just so we've done all the scatter in one go. So with that, I will see you probably tomorrow. Bye bye for tonight. Hi, it's now the following evening. As you can see, I've been a little bit busy. What we did last night, we were putting some PVA down, put some scatter down, which has come out really well. We've had some scatter in amongst the reeds on the edge of the riverbank, and the same again on both sides. The next plan of action will be to do the same, but over on this part of the river. Try and put some angles in here. I'm actually going to use some DAS clay just to create a slight riverbank here to form the same as what we've got on this side. We're going to put some more PVA down and some more scatter material all the way around the bank, just to make it a nice even uniform, ready for when we're going to pour the resin. I will be putting some static grass on here, and I will also be putting a fence just here. I'll put some sheep or some cows in there just to add a bit of interest. So we'll see where we go from there. Okay, we've got some of the DAS clay now. It's a bit like using plasticine really, from what I can see. Just pull some off the block, mold it into a solid state, and then we're just going to add a little bit just here. See whether we can create some sort of small riverbank. What we don't want to do is leave any gaps underneath it, because obviously we're going to be pouring resin. So ideally we'd like a nice tight seal. Oops. Just move that out of the way. Nice tight seal to the baseboard so we don't get resin pouring underneath. This will take 24 hours to go off hard before I can put any scatter on this. But we don't mind. It's the weekend, so we may get some more done over the weekend, maybe Monday, maybe Tuesday, before we can get any more work done on this. But with all hobbies, there's no rush. Just gently work our way along and carry on until the project's finished. And hopefully, just need to make that a little bit steeper. There we go. That's better. It's quite a sharp curve here in the bank that we put in, so need to put a little bit of feature into it. As you can see, the desk clay doesn't like being moulded too much into flat areas. Bit of moisture on the old finger. Not too worried about the look, because this will be covered with, this is going to be covered with scatter when we're filming here before we do anything else, so you're not going to see any of the slight imperfections in the finished result, but it will look a lot better. There we go. So that doesn't look too bad. We'll let that dry. Now what we have got, there is the same sort of part this side, so I've still got a bit of clay left, so what we'll do, we'll add a bit to this side as well, and that way then we get a nice even bank to work with the scatter. Bring it up to the level of the baseboard so that we get a nice even finish. I mean, this desk clay is really good value. You get a really big block for, I think it's $5.99 or $6.99 from Hobbycraft. I'd imagine if you look at Amazon you might find it a bit cheaper, but obviously I've got a local Hobbycraft shop, and it's always useful to support your local craft shop. At the end of the day, they can supply things quicker if you've got the ability to go and turn up there rather than waiting for the postman or waiting for Amazon driver to chuck it over your fence or stick it in your bin or anything other than actually do what we pay them to do. But we mustn't get too political in that vein. What I have found is just found a pin. That hurts. So that's the other side of the riverbank done there. All the other side's banked up, so we'll put some scatter on there, and obviously when that's dry we can hoover it off. This piece of scenic area here we are gonna glue into here. Just trim it down slightly here where the join is, so we get a much needed join, and we'll probably put a bit of foliage, a bit of ivy growing up it, just to try and make it blend in. It's where the old tunnel used to be. So that's a excuse me. So that's a project for the future, but for now it can just sit in position and we'll take it from there. Right, back in a bit. Right, what I thought we'd do, having a rummage round in my scenic box, and I found a little bit of N-gauge hedging. Now it might be N-gauge, but if we stick it here and perhaps put 2 layers on, it's going to form quite a nice hedge. So I think that's what we'll do. We'll just measure that to length. And if we cut that one there, what we'll do, we've got another long length, we'll make a second piece to stick on top. So say I'm no great modeller, but We'll see how we get on. Right, so once again, open up the PVA. Some PVL on the edge. Right, let's get the first piece. Let's get it in position. Now this is from Jarvis. It's not the best quality in the world, but it's not too bad. I'm going to right pig's ear of that, so we'll get rid of that piece and we'll cut another piece. I don't know. Can't get the modelers these days. So we'll pop this one in. And we'll just stick it to there. Okay, so we'll cut another length to suit. This stuff does stretch, so just a word of caution if you're using it. As I said, it came with the railway, so I'm not overly worried too much about it if I ruin it. What we'll do, put a bit of wood glue down the edge of there. And we'll stick it on the top. What we'll do is put a little bit of wood glue behind. There we are. We'll just bring that down. And what we'll do, I think just to add a little bit of greenery to it, take a tiny bit of our scatter that we used before, just sprinkle it along the top. And then once that's dry, we can vac it all off the surface like we did before. And that made the hedge look a little nicer. There we go. That's quite an ugly join where it meets the side piece on the railway. That'll look nice, and as I say, we are going to put a fence. Might put a hedge, not sure yet. I have got some fencing, but I'm just wondering whether the hedge might look nicer. But we'll have a look at that in a little while, I think. If we grab a piece of the hedge from the box, and what we'll do, we'll lay it that way. So again, if we put that that might do. However, what might be quite good, and I've only just thought of it, we need to put a gate in. And that gate there would fit lovely just there. So any livestock we've got in there, that would be better for it to come out. So what we'll do, just trim that piece of hedgework out. We don't need that, so it can go in the bin. And we'll put that back up there like that. And what we can then do, it's got a handy little spike on it. Yep, want to drill a little hole in it for that, I think, because that's a little bit flimsy. So just lift that off. And what we'll do, we'll just slide that along. What I actually need is my clamps. Every good model should invest in a set of archery clamps. I do use them in the day job, and no, I'm not a surgeon, but in the day job I do have the need to use clamps to hold on to things. Make sure they don't fall over. So let's put that back on there again. There we go, that's better. Right, what we'll do, we'll get the drill and we'll work roughly where the gate's going to go, which is roughly there. Right on the edge of the baseboard here. Right, that's the hole dug. What we'll then do is get our post, good gobble wood glue on it. Just pop that into the hole. And as you can see, we've got the gate to get any livestock in and out of the field. So I think we will put a hedge in there, all the way along to there. So where are my scissors? Well, there they are. I've got glue on them. I'm going to be in so much trouble from my good lady wife, but I'm sure I can find a way around it. Wood glue is going absolutely everywhere, other than where I want it to go. Couldn't have done that again if I'd have tried. Now this hedge is trying to curl upward, so we just put the archery clamps there just to hold it in place. And we'll clean the scissors off. Pop the scissors in there just to hold. That, and I need one more thing just to hold that down. Looks a little bit Heath Robinson, but it should in theory hold everything in place for now while that dries. What we'll do on the next episode excuse me, tonight, we'll pop another layer on top of that hedge, and that'll form a nice little boundary. I'm not sure what I'm going to do across here yet because we've got a building, so we need to find somewhere stopping any livestock getting to the railway. It may be that I have a little bit of that fencing left, and we put a bit of fencing across there just so it stops anything getting to the railway. So onwards and upwards. That'll be it for tonight. We'll come back tomorrow morning, or tomorrow evening if we get time, and we'll do a little bit more. Till tomorrow night. See you tomorrow. Okay, here we are. Let's just move the canoeists out of the way. Pop them over there. Move that tree that was made its way there. What we're going to do, we're not going to do a very big pour on the river because it's not very particularly deep. It's only going to be to kind of simulate it. We have a UV pen. There you go. We have our instant UV, and this could go very well or horribly wrong. Right, let's pour. Oops, that's not a good start. Let's have a look. Helps if I remove the paper cap that's stopping the UV resin coming out. Right, let's try this one again. Okay, got my UV pen ready, and we're going to start by pouring some in here. As you can see, it's quite thick and gloopy. Hopefully I've got enough to do this one section. I'm going to be buying some more to do the rest by the looks of it. And there we go. So let's put the UV pen on. The only thing about this UV, it doesn't give you any instructions. It literally just says pour and shine the UV light on it. It's supposed to set in 5 seconds. Well, it's definitely doing something because there's no smoke, steam coming off it. So it's clearly setting, which is obviously the chemical reaction with the UV light and the resin. I did have to charge the UV pen up when it came. Right, I'll come back in a bit and show you how it's done. See you in a minute. Right, and we're back. I think the optimist of 5 seconds to cure it is a little bit optimistic from the supplier. However, it is now cured. So, I'm rather pleased with that. It's one of these products, if you want to have some resin on your layout and you don't want to risk a long wait for the pour, try some of this UV resin. £10 a box from Amazon, and I've got to be honest, I'm quite impressed. What we now need to do, coming around here, is we're going to now need to do this half of the river, and that's going to take a little bit longer and probably a little bit more resin, but that's for another night. That's it for this week. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you like what you're seeing, you'd like to like and subscribe, I really would appreciate it. It does help the channel. It's a young channel and it'd be nice to get a few more subscribers. So thanks very much, and we'll see you very soon. Bye bye for now.